In this movie, we're going to talk about a brand new feature that starts to integrate Premiere Pro CC and SpeedGrade CC. It's called the Lumetri Effect, and it starts by creating a .look file here in SpeedGrade. We're starting with exercise file 1103 Lumetri, and if you find your system acting sluggish all of a sudden, that's because this is a red shot. Open up your preferences. I'm pressing the S button. Come down here to dynamic quality and set these to either 1/4 or 1/8. And then I'm going to escape out, and that'll save and close these preferences. And as I suggested you do in the movie on raw workflows, I've gone ahead and set the R3D decoder settings to red log film and red space, which are one of my normal starting points for red footage. Back here in the look panel, I've already defined an initial look. As I've been doing, I do different tasks in different layers. I'll turn on the base layer. This is a primary for the initial contrast expansion. The next primary is where I do a color balance since the image was feeling kind of monochromatic. The next primary, I'm grading for more emotion by working with contrast and bringing in more of that yellowish mustard feel that the DP gelled for. Now in this next primary, I've gone ahead and turned this into an outside vignette to help focus the eye. And then I've added a secondary where I'm keying out the darkest shadows and desaturating them because I want to keep the blacks nice and rich, not touched by color. Then finally a legalizer, just so we always know what the final image looks like once I clamp it down to prep for my deliverables. Here's the before, here's the after. Now I do notice this green fringe here around the light, but the camera's moving, so I'll have to track it. This is an issue I'll deal with in the final grading. For now, I'm ignoring it. Now that we have our look, I'm going to save off this layer stack as a .look file. And for our purposes, I'll open up the Look Manager, navigate to the desktop, and I'll save it there. Also, I'm going to turn off this vignette and save that, and you're going to see why in a moment. And now I'm going to rename them Lumetri and Lumetri No Vignette. Okay, our work here is done. I'll quit out of SpeedGrade. Notice on my desktop the .look files. Now, I already have open the Premiere Pro project file 1103 Lumetri. If you have access to the exercise files and need to figure out how to relink this footage, I cover that at the end of the exercise files movie at the beginning of this training. Now, here in Premiere, I've made sure that our red decoder settings match the settings in SpeedGrade by selecting Source Settings, and then I matched up ISO, Gamma Curve, Color Space, and Kelvin. So now, when we take a look at this clip in the timeline, it looks like our original starting point. Next, I'll come into the Effects tab and start typing Lumetri. Here it is. It's a Premiere effect. I'll drag it onto the clip, and immediately, a window pops up. Premiere wants me to select a .look file. I'll select the Lumetri look we saved, and boom, our grade here inside Premiere. If I want to change it, I'll come up here, press this button, and I'm about to select Lumetri No Vignette, but before I do that, keep an eye on the left side of this image. Now I'll select it, the vignette disappears. Here's the really cool thing about all of this. The Lumetri effect isn't just an effect, it's SpeedGrade running inside Premiere Pro. Think about it. Not only can shapes be processed, but I have a secondary doing a live key that's desaturating the shadows, and then the NTSC legalizer applied on top of the whole thing. The Lumetri effect is SpeedGrade's 32-bit float rendering engine running here inside Premiere Pro CC. Now notice, I don't have any controls here in Premiere. The effect is either on or off. If I want to change something in this grade, I've got to go back to SpeedGrade, make the change, save a new .look file, and reapply it here in Premiere. But this isn't the only way to apply the Lumetri effect. Rather than applying this .look to the shot itself, let's turn off this effect. Now we're going to create an adjustment layer and drag it onto the timeline. Now I'll apply the Lumetri effect to the adjustment layer. I'll select the Lumetri.look file. Boom, a quick and easy way to add this to an entire timeline without touching any of the individual clips below it. One last thing. Premiere also ships with this folder of Lumetri looks. These are the exact default .look files that ship with SpeedGrade. So you can apply them here in Premiere Pro, render them using the SpeedGrade render engine without having to go back to the Lumetri Effect. And that is the Lumetri Effect, the first step in integration between Premiere Pro and SpeedGrade. And in the next movie, we're going to see not only how the Lumetri Effect is taken to its logical conclusion in the direct link workflow, but we're also going to see how the Lumetri Effect embedded by SpeedGrade is different from the Lumetri Effect we apply by hand here in Premiere Pro.